Hi there, dear listener. Laszlo here with a quick pre-roll message for you. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know there are all kinds of convenient ways for you to support my efforts to bring you all these podcast shows on Chinese history, Chinese sayings, and tea history. If you go to my website at teacup.media and click the support button at the top, you'll find a bunch of ways to show some appreciation. There's Patreon, where you can get early access to new episodes, exclusive content, and an invite to the Teacup Media Discord channel, and more. CHP Premium, that also has early access, exclusive episodes, and ad-free versions of the entire CHP back catalog. Plus, there's several other ways to donate to the show as well. Check the episode show notes for a link to that very page. And my deepest thanks for listening and supporting me and my humble efforts. Hey everyone, welcome back. Laszlo Montgomery here, as promised, 7 days later, back with another Chinese saying. If you're not looking for the Chinese Sayings podcast, then you're on the wrong flight. Today's a good one. We can all use this one every now and then. We look at a nice, useful Chengyu from a period we don't visit that often, the Nanbei Chao, the Southern and Northern Dynasties period, 386 to 589, basically the end of the Jin to the start of the Sui, China, temporarily not a unified nation. Wow, feels nice to get away from the Zhou and Han for once. Today we look at Chengfeng Po Lang. Let's break it apart and see what it means, shall we? Chengfeng Po Lang. First character, Cheng, means to ride, like ride a bus, ride an aircraft. Second character, Feng, means the wind. Chengfeng, ride the wind. Po, in this case, one of those characters with more than the usual amount of definitions, but here it means to break, split, to cleave in two or cut. And lang is a wave, like an ocean wave. So Po Lang means to cut through the waves. Chengfeng Po Lang, ride, wind, cut, waves, or cut through the waves, let's say. Well, that could mean anything. Coming to us, courtesy of the Song Shu, the Book of Song, is this story. As I said, from the Southern and Northern Dynasties period. The story takes place during the time of the Liu Song dynasty, one of the Southern dynasties. Their capital at Jiankang, today known as the city of Nanjing. This was discussed in the China History Podcast episode number 23. The Song Shu refers to this dynasty, not the Song dynasty, situated between the Yuan and Ming on the China History timeline. There was this young kid named Zong Che, and he was fearless. He had practiced martial arts practically since birth with his father and his uncle, the younger brother of his father. And both men were very skilled and taught Zong Che how to handle a sword, how to stand your ground, and how to fight. And he grew up, this young lad, blending in easily with the timeless landscape around present-day Dengzhou, Henan province, where he lived, doing the same chores as everyone around him who came before, and no doubt after, too. But as he carried out all his duties, filial and otherwise, in his young head, he had great dreams and would see himself as this warrior, celebrated for his bravery. Well, when he was 14, his brother got married. Now, back in those days, bandits roamed the countryside, often terrorizing peasants and robbing them of whatever meager possessions they had. And they fell on Zong Che's family on the day of the wedding, about a dozen of them, and started pushing people around, acting tough, and making all kinds of demands for everyone to surrender their valuables. Well, remember that unforgettable scene in Billy Jack, 1971 classic film? Well, that's what Zong Che did. He sprang into action and using all the martial arts skills acquired from his father and his uncle throughout the years, he beat the living daylights out of these banditos and sent them packing. Some of them were wounded badly. Well, you can imagine how everyone felt after seeing that. Young 14-year-old Zong Che daring to stand up to such strength and numbers and defeating them. His uncle saw everything and asked Zong Che one day, what was his destiny? What did he want to do with his life? And as it's written in the Book of Song, Zong Che replied, 愿成长风, 破万里浪，干一番伟大的事业. He wanted to ride the wind and crash through the waves and build a great career. So tucked inside those 16 characters are the words 乘风, 破浪, ride the wind, 乘风, and break or cut through the waves. And I'll tell you, Zhongque was true to his word. He wasn't what you'd call a major or even a minor character in Chinese history, but he indeed lived during the period of the Liu Song, dying in the year 465, and while the Liu Song was having its time on the stage of Chinese history, Zhongque served as a military officer known for his bravery and courageousness, particularly his service down in Champa, south of the border, back when this part of present-day Vietnam was still called Lin Yi. So that's the story of Zhongque, who was raised by the menfolk in his life to be a skilled fighter. And he put these skills to use, first in the defense of his family, and later on in the service of his country. When he was young, he vowed he would 乘风, 破浪, ride the wind and cleave through the waves, meaning he would strive to ride high and do whatever it took to succeed. So, I hope you don't feel shortchanged. The story's slightly shorter than the usual Chengyu you're used to, but this one is sort of succinct and to the point, not even Laszlo Montgomery. So many memorable moments of verbosity over the years can stretch this out any further than this. 乘风, 破浪, ride the wind, and crash through the waves. He had lofty ambitions and feared no danger or difficulty. Like a fresh grad out of college, make this one of your mottos, an alternative to Carpe Diem, perhaps. So that is going to be that for this time. Don't despair. You haven't heard the last of me yet. We still have 2 more episodes to go in this heroic Season 3. I'll be back next week with the penultimate episode. I have another good Chengyu lined up for you. I'm going to trot out one of the true sacred cows in ancient Chinese history for this episode 9. So when I say you ain't going to want to miss this one, I mean it. Laszlo Montgomery here, wishing you all my very best, as always, on behalf of the whole team here at CHP headquarters. A mere hop, skip, and a jump from the San Andreas Fault, so barring that geological sword of Damocles slipping any more than its usual 35 millimeters per year, I'll see you next time for another good one here at the Chinese Sayings Podcast.